Every year, the Fat Controller with his wife and their grandchildren went on holiday around the beautiful island of Sodor. His grandchildren, who lived in a big city in England, loved the island. It was their great adventure, and the Fat Controller made sure they enjoyed themselves.
One day, Sir Topham had arranged with Thomas the Tank Engine to take his wife and grandchildren to the seaside.
I have planned to be off-rail as much as possible this year, but your favorite engines, Thomas and Toby, will take us to our destinations, he told them. The kids loved these two engines most of all, but they liked the others too.
The sun shone, and everywhere looked splendid.
Thomas, with Annie and Clarabelle, took them through all the valleys and beautiful countryside, through fishing villages to a small hotel by a long sandy beach.
But Lady Hatt was feeling hot and tired.
And when Thomas stopped at the little seaside station,
She took her troubles out on Annie and Clarabelle.
the Fat Controller's wife pointed out to him that Annie and Clarabelle were getting old and tatty.
Those coaches are old and uncomfortable. Why don't you use them as beach huts instead?
It's time you bought new ones. Goodness knows how people travel in such decrepit coaches. What must they think of you? She said sternly. The children laughed at the Fat Controller's embarrassment. I will see to it immediately, my dear, he replied. Annie and Clarabelle were most upset. They told him about what she had said.
Thomas was most upset.
We've got to do something quickly or we'll be scrapped for sure, said Annie. And before the Fat Controller comes back from his holiday, Clarabelle added. Thomas told his driver all about things.
You won't let them turn Annie and Clarabelle into beach huts, will you? Of course not, Thomas, replied his driver. But I must admit they could be smartened up.
I know just the chap to help us. It was very clever of the coaches to tell you, Thomas. Otherwise, they may well have ended up as beach huts, and that would never do. Annie and Clarabelle are classics, so we must save them. Annie and Clarabelle were most relieved and quite proud as well. We're classics, they hummed as Thomas took them down the branch line. For the next few days, the children played on the beach, went fishing in a smart boat, and as a special treat went to the fairground at night.
The next day,
They met Percy at the station. The Fat Controller had organized another special treat, and this was a ride in Harold helicopter. This made the children very happy. The Fat Controller greeted Percy fondly. My word, Percy, you do look smart. Now be a useful engine and take us to
Harold's airfield.
Harold is waiting for us. Percy looked a little glum. What's up, Percy? The Fat Controller asked. Well, sir, Harold's been having a bit of trouble with that tiger moth thing that's owned by the fairground people. He's lippy and rude and buzzes us, replied Percy. I'll soon put a stop to that, Percy, he said kindly. They arrived at the airfield station to find Harold waiting for them.
They were just about to board Harold when it happened.
Just as they approached him, the tiger moth plane flew very low, making them lie flat on the grass.
What was that? Cried Sir Topham Hatt. That's tiger moth, grumbled Harold. It's rude and flies much too low.
He's buzzed me again. It's dangerous. He should be grounded for pulling stunts like that, he said angrily. The Fat Controller stood up and realized his trousers were stained by grass.
So I can see.
I'll see to it, Harold. You mark my words. Nobody stains my nice new trousers and gets away with it, I assure you.
Please take us up, Harold, before there's another disturbance.
The children thought it was very exciting and liked the tiger moth. Harold took them to a prearranged destination in the mountains and valleys where the little engines worked. They stayed in the Fat Controller's country house by Waterfall Station. It was very beautiful. But the children liked riding in the little engines most of all. They went everywhere. Across the famous viaduct, along the spectacular mountain route, through forests, along lakes where they often stopped for picnics to Lakeside Harbor, where they went out on a boat and then had tea at the famous refreshment ladies' tea rooms. The weather was splendid, and everyone enjoyed themselves.
A few days later, Harold arrived at their holiday home with bad news.
Harold landed close to the Fat Controller's house. The pilot spoke to him. It's that tiger moth, sir,
said Harold's pilot.
It's gone missing. We thought you should know. We've been requested to search for it, but as we work for you, we need your permission.
Do you wish to join the search party with us?
Said the pilot. Quite so, Cyril.
I think I'd better.
To come with you. My wife will take the kids out. And off they set. The Fat Controller liked the aerial view. Despite the urgency of their mission, he really enjoyed the ride. As it happened, it didn't take long to find the moth.
There's Tiger Moth, called Sir Topham Hatt.
As Cyril the pilot called it. He knew that the moth's pilot liked showing off to the farm folk, but this time he had misjudged his buzz and ended up in a large haystack. Luckily, no one was hurt. Harold landed and the Fat Controller spoke severely to the moth's pilot.
Then he spoke to the pilot. You were showing off and flying dangerously. I will speak to your controller and request that you are grounded.
Until I tell you that you can fly again.
Yes, sir, replied the pilot. Now, if you'll excuse me, I shall return to my holiday. Jolly good idea, sir.
And what's more, the Fat Controller continued, your moth will stay there for all to see it. It will serve as a warning to any other pilot who thinks he can show off on my island. The pilot was dumbstruck and wisely stayed quiet. He was no match for a man of the Fat Controller's status. I will put Harold in charge of your rescue when I think it proper to do so. Harold smiled as he took off. He couldn't wait to tell Percy about the moth's accident. Harold landed close to the Fat Controller's house. The pilot spoke to him.
Thank you,
Sir,
said Harold's pilot.
And off they set. It was time to move on. The Fat Controller had arranged for Toby to pick them up with Henrietta.
To take them somewhere special. We will ride in Henrietta. Come on, Toby, said Sir Topham Hatt. Yes, sir, said Toby happily.
The children loved riding in Henrietta. She was another classic coach, but much smarter than Annie and Clarabelle, as the Fat Controller's wife pointed out. Toby took them on his famous scenic route. They passed windmills, stopped at watermills, and certain farms, journeyed through spectacular gorges until at last they reached their destination, which the Fat Controller had kept secret.
They arrived at a small river inlet.
It was the start of the canal system that weaved its way all the way to Knapford. There, moored to the side of the canal, was a beautiful narrowboat. The Fat Controller had bought it some months ago without telling his wife. She was as excited by it as the kids and gave her husband a big kiss which made him blush, much to the amusement of Toby's driver and fireman.
What a beautiful boat, exclaimed the children. It's my special treat.
That evening, they had supper on board and watched the beautiful sunset. Next day, they set sail. The Fat Controller took the helm with his wife beside him. The kids sat on the roof. I'm so happy to be off rail for a change.
It's so nice to be away from the railway for once,
the Fat Controller said to his wife.
And far cleaner, she replied,
as they journeyed down the canal.
But life on the river is very different from that on the rails.
Soon they came to a lock. Other boats were there, waiting for the lockman to open the barrier. The Fat Controller had not really got used to his new boat. It was very long and can be quite awkward to steer. Normally boats park to one side of the lock, but the Fat Controller didn't know this, so as he saw a clear gap, he steered straight for it. Oi! You can't park there, you silly galoot! Go on! Back down! There's a queue, you know, said a ruddy-faced boat owner. The lockman appeared and also told him to back down. He had no option but to do as they said, but he hadn't reversed before, and it could be very tricky with such a long vessel. Sure enough, it happened. As he reversed, the front of the narrow boat crunched into the side of the ruddy-faced boatman's vessel. Crunch! There was much shouting, but the lockman had opened the barrier and was keen to dispatch them. As all the other boats were much faster, the Fat Controller was glad to see them go away from him. He realized he'd made a mistake. but didn't realize just how angry boat people could be. "Boat rage," he muttered to himself. But the angry boatman was determined to pay the Fat Controller out.
The family were enjoying themselves so much that they forgot to watch where they were going.
Just as the Fat Controller was navigating a bend, the angry boatman appeared, going in the opposite direction. He swung his boat into the side of the narrowboat. The Fat Controller oversteered, and in an instant, he found himself on a mudbank.
"Oh, botheration," said Sir Topham Hatt. "We're stuck!" And they were. Other boats tried to pull them off the mudbank, but it was no use.
He was stuck so deeply not even friendly boaters could pull the narrowboat free. As luck would have it, Thomas's branch line ran alongside this canal. The Fat Controller made arrangements.
Percy saw the commotion and stopped. "What do you think of this, Percy?" laughed his driver. "Well, bust my boiler. What are you doing here?" "Is there anything we can do to help?" called his driver. "Yes, indeed there is." "This is the life, isn't it, my dear?" Soon they arrived at a small station. There was Thomas with Annie and Clarabelle, who were looking as smart as their new paint, inside and out. "My!" exclaimed Lady Hatt. "What splendid coaches! So much more suitable than those old beach huts on wheels." No one said a word.
When they arrived at the station, the Fat Controller thanks Thomas. Then he inspects Annie and Clarabelle. "My word, what a splendid job. Not only were you very clever to have this work done whilst I was away, you must be the finest carriages on the island. What a great end of holiday present. Very clever. Very clever," he muttered to himself as he joined his wife and the kids. Annie and Clarabelle smiled happily. All is well.
But that evening, Annie and Clarabelle spoke to Thomas. "It's very nice to get compliments."
"We might be old, but we're smart.
But no matter what we look like, we'll always be useful, won't we, Thomas? Of course, their friend replied.
Thomas, his driver, and fireman laughed. It was somehow a perfect ending to a very eventful holiday.